Hello.
Hello.
How you doing, Nicholas?
Good. It's a little loud in here.
It's a little bit loud. What are you up to these days?
So, I've been printing body parts. We've been 3D scanning the bodies in different poses. And now we just started printing. We got this printer donated, so
Oh, let me take a closer look.
I've been mostly working on trying to fix it and try to make it work. That's working pretty well.
Oh, that's pretty cool. What kind of material are you using?
So this is a PLA plastic. So, yeah, so we have this vision idea where we have our bodies work into each other. So we're going to have about 7 parts and it'll be all different. It'll be at each end and hopefully combine into some kind of combined figure, or distorted figure.
Have you decided the amount of stages to go from one figure to the other?
Yeah, so we're going to do 7.
7.
Yeah, so there'll be one middle piece that's going to be, I guess, like more of a reform combination of our bodies.
So this looks life-size.
Yeah, so we're going all life size. Well, although this one I've been printing is supposed to be Ian's body, but I think it's a little short. So
It might be a little short.
it might be a little short. I think it's about like 6 or 7 inches short. So I might have gotten the height wrong. Everything is converted into centimeters, which I'm not comfortable with. So I think that's where it kind of went off. Where I was trying to convert inches into centimeters. So we'll see. We're gonna print them all, and I just want to kind of test it out, see how long it takes to print a body, and figure out. Because I think we have like a month and a half left, or a month and a week left in the residency. So if we can figure that out, we can kind of plan it and see how many we can do. If we can do more, we'll try to do more. But this has been printing about 3 days now, and
This is 3 days?
yeah, 3 days. Well, I had a lot of mishap happen, especially with a bigger printer. So now it's going in.
I'm going to put my hand in just to give people a good idea of
Yeah.
scale here.
Yeah, so that's about 77% done. Just the torso. The last piece.
The last piece.
Yeah, for this body.
And you have the other printers here to...
So these are printing the smaller parts of the body.
Right.
So for instance, this one is the left hip, I think. Let me see. So this becomes part of.
Ah, I see.
So I'll sit it there. Yeah, still parts. You see this, the butt cheek right there. So that is me.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's the head. I think I left it in the other studio. Let's see if I can.
Well, this is very interesting, and as
Yeah.
days go on, I'm sure it'll
Yeah.
get more and more so.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, it's still at the beginning stage. We're spending a lot of time trying to figure out, like fixing the printer and scanning and stuff like that. So everything's good to go. We just have to start printing.
So you and the Young have been working on other projects as well.
Yeah.
In the meantime, would you mind taking a walk over and let's
Yeah.
check out what she's doing? Oh, some really interesting work here. Hey, Young, how are you? Good to see you. So what are you working on in here? You're Off on the other side of the main studio.
It's true. I'm working on these figural sculptures, and they're going to be part of the larger set slash installation that will be installed. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what's happening and sort of the driving force behind this?
Yeah, so these are traditional Korean garments that were worn during previous performances in Korea. This is a new garment that I actually acquired in Korea this past February while I was there. And so I'm resining them so they sort of become more static objects slash I envision them as becoming these sort of like shrine altar spaces all together and sort of individually as well. And so, yeah, I'm using a lot of epoxy resin to embed different materials. And so a lot of the materials reference various ritual ingredients. There's a lot of reference to land, so there are a lot of the materials that are embedded are soil and sand, and that has a lot to do with thinking through the idea of like motherland and displacement and belonging. Pearls are a big also motif. It's also like a slight, on a personal level, homage to my grandma because she grew up in a town that was known for its pearl divers. And also Korea is a very coastal country. Yeah.
I understand you have something of your grandmother's as well?
Yeah, that was out there.
It is?
That was, yeah, it's kind of, it's a family heirloom. So that was my grandmother's. And then it became my mom's, and so it was passed down to me. So now it is a artwork. Yeah, this was the first of these sort of like garment sculptures. I actually started this one in grad school, and it's just sort of morphed into this like island of its own.
So the island is coming through pretty loud and clear.
Yeah.
So is there any reasoning behind creating that?
Yeah, so I wanted them to kind of feel like individual landscapes that are kind of floating around. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with sort of like diaspora immigrant experience where you take parts of your heritage, you take parts of your lineage, and your ancestry, and then you kind of have to like make your own sort of traditions and like figure out your own way of relating to it and preserving it. And so that's kind of why I think of them as like being their own sort of like lands, referencing a different land, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Is there any, I do notice, and we talked earlier today about the mythology iconography from Korea, sort of embedded into this piece in particular. Yeah. Is there any sense of you perhaps creating your own with some of these pieces?
Yeah, I mean, so a lot of my work and my research does reference these older shamanic rituals and folklore. My grandma in particular was a folk dancer and had led a lot of these rituals at home. But I also think of them, especially in my work, of how they can be reimagined and sort of made my own. And so I'll take something that is super traditional and sort of think of ways that it can be brought in the contemporary space or even just in a personal space, whether that be through like a process of feminizing them, queering them. Yeah, I'm always thinking about how to take something that is so sacred in a lot of ways and based on my heritage and how it can sort of be somewhat turned upside down.
So you and Nicholas are also working together on this project, right?
Yeah.
And what is happening with that?
So basically, we are working on a larger film project, which is titled Blood Memory. And so these are all going to be environments that will sort of situate the performances in the film.
Okay, and have you decided on where that environment is going to be yet?
I think right now we have 2 studios in New York City, so I think we'll kind of divide the 2 studios. We're also thinking creating 2 installations in different spaces and somehow mirror them and then somehow combine them together through via a video or webcam or some kind of I guess like a camera screen situation where you can actually see the other space, but it's also live streaming, so you can see in live. So we're having 2 different performances, different studios, and somehow link them together. So we're just kind of exploring and thinking about. I guess it's kind of like this too, right? Like we have 2 different studios going on, and
There's like a peephole that can connect the 2 studios. And then we're also playing around with the idea of bringing some of these elements outside, into a graveyard, or even just like a traditional theater space, and what that would look like. So we're still kind of playing around with exactly where, but they will be part of the film. That's the connecting factor.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
So has this current climate of our world sort of impacted that very interesting decision of 2 separate studios sort of blending together through video?
Yeah, definitely. Especially, I feel like this idea of like a peephole where you don't actually get physical access to one space, and one space you can only access like through looking in through something, and this idea of like separation and what does it mean to come together when there are all of these like physical boundaries, I think is always something that I'm thinking about.
It's very interesting. Well, thank you very much.
Oh yeah, thank you.
And we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.